Hi everyone. Sorry about that. There's a long wait, even longer for us because we had numerous problems. Skype decided not to work until Warren stood literally there and watched me close Skype and open it, and it worked.
Skype hates you, man.
I was furious.
Oh,
He literally stood there and just watched me close it and open it, and it worked. Furious. And also John can't hear Justin, so we're waiting, or John can't hear Ben, so we're waiting on a splitter. So if anyone wants to send some funds over so we can get more splitters.
If you have a question you want to direct it at me, either have Ben say it and then relay to me, or put it in the chat.
Splitters!
Yes, we need more splitters. So, my Kingdom First splitter, yes. Okay, so this week we have some very interesting things to go over. And as usual, if you don't know what Hobby Hangout is, come across to OnTableTop.com, and we will be going through all of the community projects and things that you guys have been working on throughout the week. We also have an interesting competition piece that we think that should be given some visual reference to. One of our community members is a part of it, but don't let that judge your voting process.
Jerry is just giving us.
We'll give it a hint.
Jerry's just given us some very helpful feedback by telling us the splitter is in the Weekender set. We are aware of that.
Yes.
Justin is currently using the Weekender set.
We know that. We know where it is, but we can't get it right now.
Yep. It's just out of reach.
Yes. But thank you, John, for joining me anyway. And thank you, Ben, for joining me as well.
Stop wiping your nose.
That's a beautiful intro. How are you, Ben? What have you been up to this week?
Who I immediately removed the beard from this morning because I painted on some stubble last night and realised it looked terrible, so I went back and got rid of it. But I've also got two of the other miniatures in metal to go and have a look at, and also been working through some more birds and badgers, painting up some kingfishers and stuff. So yeah, pretty awesome. Apparently, Sundads can't hear me.
It's okay. We can hear you, Ben. That's
you
fine.
can hear me now. Okay, right. So hopefully all the things I've just said have been fantastic and everyone's absorbed them. So.
Yes. No worries. Okay, so I want to first off have a look at this Fallout Wasteland Scenery Design Competition, which was held by Modifius Entertainment. And we'll go through some of these things, these entries, and if you guys wish, we think it's a good competition to go in, share your thoughts, share your votes, and if you want to vote for, let me just scroll down, if you want to vote for Thomas Desjardins, I hope I pronounced that right, that's Tom D on the community forums, and this is his project, so you want to go across and maybe vote for his, but there's some fantastic pieces as well there as well. If you scroll down as well, I recognize James Dixon's piece as well. So if you want to vote for Tom D and James Dixon, and I mean, whatever strikes your fancy is winning the vote, why not vote for it as well? But there's been some pretty awesome pieces coming out of this competition. We'll not go through them too much because we'll stick to your own website. But
I love this Liberty Prime setup.
So this was Tom D's project.
Yeah.
So cool.
And if we scroll down, I love the road on this actually. I thought that was pretty cool. And then if we see here, this is James Dixon. I can't remember his username on the website, but if you remember
it's
back
very atmospheric
to,
when we looked at it.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, that was the one with the giant glow-up star.
Yep.
That was really cool. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can choose your options for where you want to choose from here.
It's
and
great
there
to
seems to be multiple times you can choose, so if you refresh the page, why not? Go for it. If you have the time, keep voting.
It's great to see the amount of creativity coming out for this game as well, because the Fallout world is so expansive and so
I thought this was
Interesting,
cool.
yeah.
I really like this wee piece. I thought it was an interesting, like, just the sofa with the skeleton holding the teddy bear.
I'm glad that people are including the teddy bears because they're a bit of a staple in the game.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have the very first project that we're going to go over. Excuse me. So this is a Monday Dungeon design. Hopefully we're going to get in contact with Caesar and see if he wants to like collaborate. We'll host his streams on Mondays and see how it goes. Much to spoil anything, but as you can see, it's like a giant greenhouse.
Yeah.
It's because I was thinking of the Belfast greenhouse where it has a huge thing, and they were talking about. So they always start off their dungeons like, who made the dungeon? Are they still alive? Are they dead? Are they maybe just like, do they still maintain it? If not, what happens to it? What's it for? Who's it for? And like what goodies and what other things can you see for it? So starting off with the idea of like, you know, who built it? They decided a witch would build it, so they have all these cool ideas of the witch owning this greenhouse, and you can see up there in the pitting room of like bugs.
It's like a massive
stuff.
apothecary kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting because they talked about that the plants killed the witch. I can't remember why, but it's the plants are more defensive over the greenhouse than anything. They've become part sentient, from what I remember. And there was a running joke of you shouldn't throw stones in glass houses. So if you do throw a stone, there should be a consequence for it. So like a plant will maybe attack you, or maybe 2 stones are thrown back at you.
Yeah.
You know, why would you not throw a stone in a glass house? But I thought that was cool. And then you can see some of his other maps that Caesar's been working as well. The black hole, which seems pretty interesting.
Talking of interesting dungeon design stuff, there was a piece that we put out in the news yesterday. There was a new Reaper. It's called the Blackrock Troll. It's one of the new Reaper sort of bones miniatures.
Uh-huh.
And the whole concept behind the troll is that it's covered in like crystals and stuff. And I love the idea of there being like a wizard who tells you to go and retrieve some crystals from this dark cave somewhere. And it turns out that they're not just latently spread around the walls; they're actually attached to the back of the troll. And then that's like the big twist at the end. That would be pretty awesome, I was thinking. So,
yeah, that's cool. So this troll just like, you see all the crystals, and then all of a sudden it start moving itself.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I really like the paint job on this like troll whenever it came out, because it's like all the colours of the rainbow essentially on it.
The interesting thing about it is that some people pointed out, because it's bones, the actual quality of the sort of like miniature is actually quite low, so there's not so much detail in there. But the painting in this style here, where they've done that almost mottling across the model, actually brings it to life a little bit more. So that's something I think you'd have to do if you were picking this model up, I think. But,
interesting. Okay.
But anyway.
Thank you. We got our splitter. This is what this whole thing was about. Waiting for this bloody splitter. Here we go,
Isn't it amazing how a little thing can hold us all up?
A lot of little things can hold you up depending on where they go.
That's what she said.
Right.
No, Ben, now I can hear you. Stop
you
that.
can hear Ben.
Behave yourself.
Okay, so next up we have this Rangers Shadow Deep Soul Play project by Doug the Fug.
Oh, yeah.
I like how you said not quite Lego. In reference to Ben, you were looking for Lego minis
But yeah,
a couple of weeks back.
I think this is still a fantastic project that he's been putting together, and I love all these additional, not necessarily, well, additional people he's added into his ranger band, and also some of the sort of citizens that are sort of wandering around that he rescues from all the different houses and stuff during each of the different games too. It really shows off what you can do with these kits, and I just love seeing someone put so much passion into like one game like this.
Yeah.
And like just the amount of work he's done, it's phenomenal, and it makes me feel really bad that all my Rangers Shadow Deep stuff is still just white at the moment. So, apart from some zombies, I've painted all the zombies. I've got like some brown and green on one of my ranger guys, but
Do you know what? Like from like a few months ago, Doug's painting has come on leaps and bounds.
Oh, it really has.
It really has.
You can
It's a lot
definitely
cleaner
see
now.
the progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that he's doing a lot more really close detail work on some of his characters.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's actually starting to do eyes and stuff on the miniatures, which I think is really cool.
Yep.
And the way that he's adding extra detail into things like those zombies further down the page as well, it's just great stuff. So
Even that lighting effect actually there, right there.
It's very subtle, but it just works.
That's perfect.
yeah.
Like Todd Howard says, it just works. Or does it? 76.
Oh, the zombies.
That
yeah,
zombie's
that's...
badass.
Yeah.
Oh, these are the Mantic zombies too.
Yeah, because the guy.
That's pretty gross.
Exposed skull.
I haven't seen that before. He's got a golden button for his previous works. That that was for the zombies or the skeletons.
If you're interested in that Black series, by the way, Jerry, in terms of from Reaper, they did the Owlbear last month in January, and this month's miniature is that troll, and so they're going to be doing one every month going forward throughout the year, a bit like we did with the Dungeon Delvers from last year, just to inform you a little bit there. So
these are some very nice little sculpts. They're very they've got a lot of character to them.
They really do. Yeah.
It would seem to me though, if I was working with these little kits, like you say, they're sort of like plug and play, sort of Lego-esque kind of thing. I would say once you've settled on a miniature pose and all that, I would green stuff in the gaps a little bit, because there's a couple of visible ones on some of the characters, but like him, the guy with the lantern, and then I think it's the lady that's walking further
Yeah,
down.
there's a couple. Some of the paint, the paint helps a little bit, but I suppose just a little bit of green stuff.
It's one of those things that once you start to look closely at the miniature, you'd see that, but from sort of gaming.
It doesn't matter so much.
Yeah. The new plastic kit for the Wizards is out as well from the guys at North Star, so that's another bit of Lego to add to the collection. So.
Yeah. I saw that.
Looks absolutely. I really want it just to make some Wizards, and no other reason other than to make Wizards.
What would you use them in, Ben? Because you've got your new dungeon terrain.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. So you could use it in that.
I could do.
I'm surprised you're just not saying you could just play a dungeon crawler with burrows and badgers. Like I'm really surprised you're not just going, I'll just burrows and badgers my entire life.
Well.
Oh no.
I think I can say this. Yeah, I can say this.
Can you say it?
Yeah. Mike from Oathsworn has talked in the past about he loves role playing games as well. So he's working on something for that.
Awesome.
So, that could be cool. So. But yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't just use burrows and badger miniatures for doing a bit of D&D. So and I've got it all sitting just over there.
Yeah. Why not? If you can think of any cool scenarios or something, put them in the comments. We'll read them out. Ben, I want to point out that news article that you put out today as well, the RPG Tales with Hero, the Adventurers Journal. So this one, I thought that was a fantastic idea, and at first I thought 16 quid is a little bit pricey for the notebook, but whenever you see how thick it is, and that'll do for a lifetime. So
as one of because I looked at it and I thought, well, it kind of looks a little bit like a glorified notebook in a way. Like you could go and buy one, in a similar style with none of the additional stuff inside, for probably quite cheap. But I think for what it is, and for how much people like investing in their D&D characters and stuff, I think it's really definitely worth it. Especially when you think it's got, because I think it's split into 3 separate sections, so each of them involves a character and campaign book. So you could do that 3 times, which I think is pretty awesome, especially if you're planning to try and play a lot of D&D. So
I was a little bit annoyed because this here project popped up as well for me, this RPG campaign journal, and it only ships to the US. And it's so cheap as well. I was so tempted to maybe send it off to Don Jan and see if they'll send it over to me, but we'll see. But yeah, next up we have this Star Trek free print and play.
Yeah.
Also we have a recommendation. Oh, Mouse Guard, yeah. Mouse Guard is a great RPG system. I think Burrows and Badgers kind of inspired by Mouse Guard, was it not as well, Ben?
I think so. I think a lot of the inspiration came from Redwall and Mouse Guard, I think, together, bringing that into Burrows and Badgers. Mouse Guard is fantastic, though. I've read the graphic novel. Graphic novel? Yeah, call it a graphic novel. And and through one of the role-playing books as well. Very cool. So.
Cool. So this is a little highlight for this Star Trek print and play by G.R. Boer. It's if you want to create it in, I'm not sure how he does it. Maybe if you want to put it into like if you want to do like spreadsheets, or you want to actually print them out at play, or maybe put it through Tabletop Simulator. All the rules are there to download and free download.
Yeah, this is really cool. I like this.
And
I was going to say I've been watching the new episode of Star Trek Discovery, which I think is awesome. By the way, I think they hit the nail on the head with that show. But yeah, this would be kind of awesome if this sort of developed into something a bit larger as well, adding more ships and stuff into the mix. So.
Yeah. What I would say is, as I don't like the white paper, I would maybe put a black background on it, just so it the ships actually pop off the thing and rather look like ships rather than cards paper. So if anyone has any time maybe to go in and just like change up the designs on them, it might help out. But as far as I'm aware, it seems like a pretty cool print and play for you guys.
I was going to say also, if that starts to, if you find that the game works for you and you want to get yourself some miniatures to sort of build up from that, there are still the ones from WizKids that you can pick up. So if the rules stand up and you don't particularly want to play the WizKids version of the game, you've got this one you could try. So
yeah.
If they're the same scale, I don't know, but.
Okay, so next up we have Enter the Blackstone Fortress by Joe Rugby. We looked at this previously before and gave him a golden button for it. And you can kind of see why we gave him a previous golden button. But he has the Grek finish, so the Grek is kind of
Christ.
like the sniper of the game.
That is a gorgeous crew.
Someone tell Lloyd to go and throw his crew in the bin.
Yeah, this is it. No more crew is required. Ever.
That's so cool.
What a fantastic paint job on this, and all around it as well. Even the base that we previously mentioned. All these fine details into it as well. I love the description down here. Cluck cluck. Keep it at that.
Cluck cluck, mother ducker.
I love the like tattoo work he's done on the back of the head and sort of bringing that out. And that eye looks really menacing as well. That's so cool. Oh, and the fading of the like frills as well as for the hair. That's brilliant. Oh man, it makes me really want to pick up some crew. No wait, I need to send those to Lloyd. Wait, no.
How do you spell Crut, Ben? Before
K-R-O-T.
Horribly.
It's even there in front of you.
Oh yes.
Just saying.
I didn't look. Well, it's not there on the screen. I've been looking for the screen, but John.
Lance was elected to lead, not to read.
I was elected to lead, not to read.
I think we saw the spindle drones previously, but if we have another like little nosy at them, the shading on these are beautiful.
That's really
I was fascinated when I saw these were actually going to be part of the game, and because they're so different from everything else we've seen in 40k, in terms of like the way that it's like the mechanical construct. They reminded me a lot more of like Mass Effect or something. Or Destiny. Yeah. So.
They definitely, I can see Mass Effect in there definitely, like those things that kind of hover around displaying information. I remember these have a specific rule as well in the game. I think they do no damage or something, but they do something else.
They are like they're like alert other creatures.
Yeah, yeah. But the crew on this, it's amazing. Well done.
And there's lots more of his work down in the rest of that project as well. So.
you've already got a golden button, so you're not getting another for more work. We can't just keep giving you golden buttons, but if you keep up that work,
I have to let the statute of limitations run out on golden buttons before I can give you a new one. So.
That's it. Fantastic work there by Joe Rugby. Well done.
Superb stuff.
Next we have Necrothral does sci-fi. And let me scroll past. There we go. We link it in.
Ooh.
I like how it opens with Daleks and then the next thing you see is Plague Marines.
Yeah. Get your hopes up with all these cool Daleks, all these cool tin cans.
And then you see a
And then
rotting
you see-
tin can.
A rotting tin can that's painted very nicely,
Yep.
actually.
You can't really go wrong with Death Guards. I mean, as long as you look at them and feel physically ill, I think you've painted them exactly as they should be.
Yeah, I think like upon first glimpse of these, you could maybe think that they're a little bit. It's like a prime ration in your face, but it's still a nice bit of detail. I think on these, a lot of rust, as you say, make them look horribly ill.
Yeah.
That does look really ill at the back, like the tentacles.
I remember painting the ones we use on our demo table, and even at some points I was like, "Oh, this color looks so horrible here, but it works, and I can't do it."
These all work with like if you make them all look really pale and just like emphasize it with washes, it
Really?
works really well.
Yeah, nice and desaturated with making the rust
Yeah.
be like one of the feature parts of the paint scheme looks really interesting.
Yeah.
And then like some spot colours here and there, like you see the big yellow pustules and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's really cool.
I hate saying that word too, and I'm not going to.
Pustules.
Yeah, I hate saying that word. Makes me feel ill.
I mean that's maybe a good job then.
Davros.
We'll have a look at some of the these are from December, so we've maybe seen them before, but we'll have a look again.
Davros was like the worst Dalek ever. Davros was like, I can only wear half the suit because the rest of me is inferior human.
I think I mentioned this before, but I never knew what Daleks were until I watched the TV show quite like recently, maybe about 6 months ago. And because I always thought they were just
Machines.
I never understood the fear and threat that they had, only because I purely looked at them as a tin can object. And then whenever I saw like they had these like squids inside them, I was like, oh, it's a tank, it's a house for something more threatening.
Yeah.
It's
It's a house. It's
Yeah.
essentially a hamster ball for a very highly advanced race.
yeah. So I think after that I found a little bit more respect for like Doctor Who and realized that
Why
you know
you freaked out every time you came across
yeah.
them.
So it was just a very odd realization that I had whenever I first saw the episode where they're first revealed in the new revamped version of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these blights are very nicely done, and it shows what you can do with just a couple of washes as well. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Denzin looking at costume designs for Star Wars. I thought this was a very interesting project. There's quite a bit of painting going on, but the emphasis is on the research.
Yeah.
So he's looking at the Imperial Navy comms, looking at all the helmet designs, so getting one of the actual Star Wars books for costume references and seeing what colours are involved in this. And
To be fair, that particular helmet design, you can tell where Spaceballs got their Vader helmet. Yeah, 'cause it's so overemphasized. It's really silly.
I think it's quite interesting as well, like looking back at the old costumes from the original movies. They weren't particularly imaginative,
No.
especially when you look at like Stormtrooper stuff, because you had to make it on the cheap, and you know,
Vacuum formed plastic, and
Yeah.
you hope you found people that would fit the vacuum form because you didn't want to have to make another mold.
yeah,
Yeah.
like Darth Vader. I think like the mask is pretty much the piece, but
The mask is the most iconic part of Vader's whole thing.
everything else, like these, just look like guitar pedals.
Little mini amp boxes and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I remember when talking about costume. I remember when Robin Hood came onto BBC. It was about 10, 12 years ago now, something like that. It was when I was like a teenager. And in the first series, they clearly couldn't afford cloaks for their bad guys, so they were running around in what approximated 2 bin bags. And it was terrible. So.
Yeah, you can really look at the Stormtrooper stuff. Like, what is
the purpose?
like
of
what?
that?
Yeah, what's the purpose of this bit?
It's like it feels to me it's like one of those Oral-B wireless chargers.
Yeah.
Toothbrush.
Yeah.
You set something on there and it just works, and you can't explain how.
Maybe
so
that's how
you,
the Stormtroopers charge up.
yeah,
Maybe
maybe it is.
they
They just rest against the wall and that's it. Yeah.
Darth Vader hangs them up every night. I remember reading though a while ago that Darth Vader has, like, especially in the first trilogy, he has like the least amount of screen time, but he's the most
Remembered thing from
significant part of Star Wars. And it's not even like it's just a silhouette.
Yeah.
Pointing towards the screen as if everyone can see here. It's just that silhouette that shows, and it's one of the most iconic pieces of cinematography that's ever been produced, and yet he has the least amount of screen time.
The thing for me with Vader is that every time he is on screen, he's slow, he's methodical, he has that persona of intimidation about him. So every time he's on screen, you remember that, because everyone else is flitting around and running in a panic, and Vader's just stood there like, what? Come at me.
Yeah.
You know?
Bob Cockaigne says in Firefly the Alliance were wearing old Starship
Yes,
Trooper.
they were. I'm glad someone else noticed that, because when I seen it the first time, I was like, hang on. I want to know more.
You can see here as well, like he is looking at all the details in the back and painting them on too, which is always very good.
I'll admit, during my Star Wars Legion painting stuff, I did not look at any reference photos. I looked at the box art, and I was like, that is close enough.
Wow, as our Holland mentions, Darth Maul had 8 minutes of screen time in episode 1, and yet you see his merchandise everywhere.
Yeah. But he was the dude with the red and black face and horns on top of his head. Like, that's all you need to know about Darth Maul.
Yeah. The amount of Darth Mauls I got as well whenever I was doing face painting was incredible.
Wait,
It's
does
it was essentially draw Spider-Man with spikes.
Yeah.
That was it.
does that mean that Darth Maul, in the final fight scene against Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they cut to him so rarely that he's only on for 8 minutes total?
Yeah.
That's crazy. What?
I haven't got a fact checker on board, Ben, so you would just have to
God
take
damn it.
that.
I believe you, Ronald. Okay.
To be perfectly honest, the only thing I liked in episode 1 was the pod race. Because the pod race was amazing. I hate the extended cut, because the extended
Even the
cut
sound
ruined
effects,
it.
the sound effects in the pod race, boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's so good.
It got me going, but I hate the extended version of that race, because they added in all the stuff they cut out, and you can see why they cut it out. It just slowed the whole thing down. That, and I love the droid fight against the Gungans. A proper big scale battle going on, and I was like, this is great. And then episode 2 came out, and they turned the droids into witless, useless things that had personality. I don't care about droids having personality. I care about droids having a bit of attitude when they're fighting.
Be careful what you say, John. Google can hear you.
I know.
When the machines rise up.
No, Google will like me when the machines take over. They will be like, do you want to come and like design some of our stuff before we kill you? And I'll be like, that's
They'll come
cool.
to John and they'll be like, John, you know the perfect ratio to machine and human learning.
Yeah.
Will you command us in the fight against humans? And John will be like, I hate everyone anyway, so let's do it.
But do you see what I mean though? Like in episode 1, the battle droids were, you know, some of their lines were simply, check it out, Corporal, we'll cover you, and all this sort of stuff, and it was proper little, very clipped tones.
Yeah.
And then episode 2 and 3, they're running around screaming at stuff and falling over each other and being completely useless. And it's like, no, you took the one thing I liked out of the first 3 movies, and it's like,
Apparently he was on Darth Maul was on for 6 minutes.
That's absurd.
Skynet is listening.
Yeah.
I hope Skynet is listening. I might learn something.
Whoa, John. So we have to give false information. That's all. Okay, so next up we have Warhammer Fantasy Revisited by Evil Studio.
Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So he has a paint-a-thon going. Day 5, Wednesday, part 2. Let's see if we can go down to day 1 and just see.
Good lord, the
progression.
amount of stuff I've seen in the big group shots.
Yeah, Joe, don't just hold on. Wait till you see. Oh, look at that.
Yes,
That's good.
That's more like it.
Right. Very silly idea. So he started off. He plans this paint-a-thon to see how many minis he can get through, and as we just saw in the preview scrolling there, it's quite a lot. But you can, that armor looks good. I think these are just little inspiration pieces.
I love that he's going back and doing proper old school Warhammer Fantasy as well.
Yep.
I say old school. It's not that. It's not been dead that long, but but yeah, doing these proper big, massive Warhammer armies. It made me consider trying to get my friend to get his ogre army back out, so he could play a bit of Warhammer Fantasy. But yeah, so cool. And I love the look of those Chaos Warriors. Like, they're not the most animated Chaos Warriors, but I think they have such a menacing feel to them. Just like, a little bit like what you were saying about sort of Darth Vader in a way, like this this plodding forward.
Yeah.
Just gonna rip you to pieces.
It's the gait. They don't need to be in a running pose or swiping pose. It's the fact that they're just stood there, broad-shouldered, walking steadily. That feels like a good rank and file army, particularly for Chaos. They just don't care. They're just marching forward anyway.
And then you can see that the painting of them comes together so nicely as well. And I love that. Like you take those main primary colours of all those main colours of all the different Chaos factions. So you've got Zench, Slanesh, Khorne, and Nurgle there, and every single one of them, the colour just pops really nicely because the armor's so big and chunky.
Yeah. So
you can really see like how they all differentiate on the tabletop further away as well. It's really cool. Awesome.
So that was day 2. I was looking at these now. I was thinking, I wonder if he's using. Some of these have a bit of a shine to them. It doesn't look like it now. And now that I'm looking at it with a different picture from this one, but I thought maybe he was using the metallic paints.
It looks like he's painting with washes.
Yeah,
which is great.
I love painting with washes. I think it works really well. You have to be careful though, obviously. But,
yep.
So here, day 4, we can see some details going on to them now. The washes really worked out very well, and it's getting quite a large army finished in days, literal days. That's cool. I love the contrast between the green and the red. Nice complementary colours, opposite colours there.
Yeah, I like the more Zench aligned ones with that blue and that gold coming in.
That really nice blue, yeah.
You can see there's a ton of models still yet to be painted, but he's plowing through them.
Quite a lot of them.
That's very cool looking. There's a lot of detail going into this as well, because it's such a large army. It looks like he's taking his time, but speeding up where it can be sped,
where
like
you can be forgiven.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, those red guys.
See what I mean though? It kind of looks like
they have
that
a bit of a
green
metallic
stuff,
shimmer to them.
metallic stuff. The color shift paints. That looks cool.
I think it works.
This just reminds me of like the Parabellum stuff that we've been seeing recently. Actually,
yeah.
Very cool, and you can see. Wow. So he's got about half the army finished. I'm assuming that this is the next project that he's going to be working on.
Yeah. He's been doing a whole bunch of different armies as well, hasn't he? Because he's got Chaos, he's doing Elves, I think.
Yep.
Empire as well.
I always wanted to do Bretonnians. but unfortunately they're gone.
There's some Bretonians in here in this one.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, you can make Bretonian armies for Warhammer if you ever wanted to go back to it, just using the Perry stuff, to be honest. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shit. Well, maybe not the Perry stuff, but maybe some of the stuff from Fireforge. Perry stuff is probably more for Empire, I'd say.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So next we have Vanguard Kings of War modeling for both systems. So modeling the models for both Kings of War and Vanguard by Bear Dragon 14. I love his name, Bear Dragon.
Yep.
Always see him pop up as well, and he always gives me a little chuckle. Sisterhood Scouts. It's an harrowing experience.
I think everyone is now starting to take after this whole everybody needs a pun.
Mm-hmm. I love these Rangers here.
Yeah.
And that mat actually looks pretty interesting with the terrain and stuff. You got a little like fire pit down the bottom, and then you've got the nice trains at the back. Trains at the back. Terrain at the back.
Trees. Or hedge.
It's Gur Panthers next.
Image.
There we go. Oh, these are these are nice looking. I like these. I think, as you said before, John, like maybe a little bit of like green stuff across the mold lines.
Mold lines and join points.
Mm.
Because those kitties look like they've had leg amputations.
Could you could you maybe fix that with just painting alone? Like if you, I don't know how you would do it, but like you would manipulate like it's like sunlight to make it work.
I've seen it done with. I've seen it done with plastic glue. Because it obviously melts the plastic together. So if you put just enough of it on the ridge and you smooth it out, you can do it that way. But the easiest way is to just use green stuff or something. But
I mean, you can use plastic glue on the mold lines. If the mold line isn't very standout, you can get the really thin stuff, liquid poly, and just because it has a brush applicator, you just brush it over the line a few times and it softens it in.
You also have liquid. Talking of liquid, you also got liquid green stuff as well now, haven't you? So you can use that. I'm not sure how good that is. Clearly not very good.
It's not. I even watched a tutorial on it that was like, here's how you fill gaps with liquid green stuff, and it still took 4 attempts. So
Jerry says the plastic glue trick would not work because they're PVC.
Well, on PVC then you're kind of screwed.
I think my favorite thing that came into the studio was, I think last year, it was the liquid spider web.
The spider stuff, the spider web stuff.
Because I remember you just coming out covered in like what looked like spider webs. And just your face coming out of it like, don't go in there.
Don't go in there. I'm high as a kite, man.
How long's John been locked in that cupboard?
I love these Basilian paladins here.
Yep.
It's a really nice colour scheme on those. The nice blue and the white transitions really nicely.
I'm still not sold on Mantic Dwarves, but
don't worry.
We'll get to
dwarves.
Let's have that discussion, Ben. What do you not like about them? Are they too simple, or are they not usable enough?
It's because the proportions just don't work for me.
Are they too squat for you? Or?
Like I feel they're too squat, and the models themselves, because they're. I mean, yeah, I'm going to give Mantic the benefit of the doubt here because they're really freaking old now.
Yeah.
But there's no real definition in the models, and when you see some of their characters they did in Metal and some of the new stuff they've done for Dungeon Saga and now obviously Vanguard as well.
Yeah.
The sculpts are way better.
Yep.
And I can't understand why they thought. I mean, I can understand, like, cheap miniatures, nice and easy, whatever. But like, they just look like they've been like hit on the head and their head sunk into their shoulders, and it just doesn't work for me. But
I think they look like little ball bearings on a base.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean. Like, it's going to be interesting with Vanguard being released to see if they produce any newer sculpts for.
Well, I mean, like they have new sculpt for the dwarves in all their different because some of them have got special weapons and all that kind of thing, and they look great. But then they package them alongside these old plastic ones, and you can just see like this massive shift change in how they look.
Yeah.
And it's a bit jarring for me, but if people like them, but they're just not for me, I'm afraid. So.
I think they're quite cute.
I mean, I'm totally on board with Mantic's philosophy of big armies for less. I think that's a really cool and very well timed move by the company.
It is. It definitely is. But it's one of those things that now they're a little bit more established and they've got really well developed sculptors as part of their ranks. They could start to look at redoing things like the elves and the dwarves, especially.
Yeah.
Because pretty much all the others look great as far as I'm concerned, even the orcs and stuff. But yeah, it's just the elves and the orcs, elves and the dwarves. Sorry, I think they need a bit of an upgrade.
Okay, we have a few other projects that we'll have a look through as well. This one by Sundancer, he's in the comments right now, so if we have any questions we can ask him what's going on here. But this is the Imperial Depot for Star Wars Legion, and yeah, that is huge. This is from Micro Studio as well, so it should come along together quite nicely.
Bob, congratulations on your U-boat pledge being delivered. Enjoy that game, my friend. Enjoy that game.
I really like what you've done here, Sundancer, with the mini just in there for reference to see the size comparison.
It's like let me remind everybody, this is huge.
This is the one that they showed off at I want to say Essen. I think we first saw it, I think, at Essen, and then slightly after that, and it's just one of these massive ones that can be done as that larger single piece, as you can see there, where they suggest you can split it down like halfway down the middle, and then use it as two sort of like open hangar bays as well. So,
yeah, that looks cool for an idea for two open hangar bays.
Yeah.
You could use it for quite a multitude of games, but it'd be interesting to see what kind of scenarios come out for Star Wars Legion. I think you could do a pretty good Rogue One mission with that.
Oh yeah,
like the assault on the beach.
Yeah, because you could model like a landing pad out front and have that be like almost the hangar bay and entrance into the large tower from Rogue One or something as well.
Yeah.
That goes underground, and then have like a little beach assault and stuff. That could be really cool.
Definitely.
Have the AT-AT wandering in from the distance so you can just see it.
Yeah.
Can we just not have AT-ATs? Can we just have that as a piece of artwork that's like at the far end of the table?
No, John, you need to model that.
No, I don't.
And you need to model it in perspective, so you've got to do a small one, then a medium one, then a really big one. So
we actually have all three sizes too, so that would actually be possible. But no.
They're all the right size until John melted them all.
Yeah. I hope everybody likes going back and watching that vlog where I cut one up.
So what have you been working on, Ben, here? This is Dunkeldorf minis.
Yeah, so I was saying at the beginning, I think I was... so they're the miniatures that I got from the guys at King Games, because they're coming to Kickstarter quite soon.
Yeah.
And so I picked out... I got sent 3 of them very nicely from the guys at Dunkeldorf. And as you can see, I've been painting up Hermann Giesel there. And this was my attempt at Stubble, which didn't go well, so I've repainted his face.
You just did a beard?
I just did a beard, yeah. Because I was trying to do like watered down grey and it didn't really work, so I just went back to the drawing board and did him in full big jowly face now.
I don't want to point this out, but I just can't help myself. It looks like the king from that Netflix series Enchanted. Or Disenchanted.
Does a little bit, yeah.
I haven't seen any of that, but...
Does a bit look... If you painted him with like a ginger sort of orangey hair, that would have been him.
But
that's a lovely model though.
Yeah, but so these are some of the first metals that they got through, and they're just sending them out to people just to have a play around with. So I painted Herman there, and I'm going to be working on... I'm doing like a hobby night tonight with one of my friends, so I'm going to try and paint Bertha or Gunther later.
Yeah. So Jerry's giving you a suggestion there: use glaze medium and stipple it on, Ben. I think if you're doing like 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing, paint with the skin tone, but just add in like a different color.
Yeah, I wouldn't
just
even
a little bit.
Like I know, I agree with Jerry, but I wouldn't even stipple it on. I would just
Brush it
take your glaze medium and just thin the grey very very thinly,
Right.
and just do a couple of layers with it. Because
Yeah.
a 5 o'clock shadow from a distance will just look like a darker beard outline, essentially.
Yeah, or even like maybe a wash of blue. There's like that teal blue that I've seen you used a few times. So you do a couple of washes of that, because like it also kind of depends on the color of the beard you want.
Yep.
Because unfortunately here, I think his beard ended up looking a little like Homer Simpson's, and like just like one block colour. But yeah, I really enjoy painting it. I'm looking forward to painting the other two, and giving them a go as well. So.
Awesome. Lastly, before we have a look at the community spotlight, we have Necron 099's Volsung Minis. Look at this car.
Oh god.
Using color shifting paint.
Yes.
This is a perfect use of the color shifting paint as well. Because you've kind of been testing it on
I've
few
tested
things.
it, yeah.
But I think cars are what it's made for, and Laughing Boy, he did Beetles.
Yep.
Like, I think that's probably the perfect 2 options for the color shift paint. That is so cool looking.
That is very cool.
Oh, the next one down. That's my favourite mini in the whole range. The Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not Pinky in the Brain.
But that car is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice work. Okay. Let me just go over to our beautiful faces while I log in, so we can actually look at the community spotlight. If you guys have been up to anything this week, please let us know. Also,
I've been mulling over a couple of projects I want to do after the ridiculous amount of tank project I have.
this is like once you start a project, then you have notes like, oh, I don't know, I have an idea for my next project.
I've had one in my head for ages, and it's to do with U-Boat.
Alright, okay.
Because U-Boat, as the board game, advertises itself as being a 1/72nd scale U-Boat, and I'm like, that's right. And then I went to eBay, and it was like, 1/72nd scale U-Boat. Oh look, there's a Type 7 plastic kit. Could I build the game board into the scale model? And if I could do that, could I light it so that when things go wrong, I press a button and red lights come on, and when I press a button again,
that'd be so good.
blue lights come on?
And then, because different things can go wrong in different parts of the ship, can you like code it as well? Well, you don't even have to code it, you just have to like link it up to different buttons. That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. I need to do this.
You have sound effects as well as you push the button. So
But you get the sound effects from the app.
yeah, I guess.
So you get the app with
Thank you very much, Flickster, for hosting us as well. Who's saying get a haircut? Is that me? My hair's fine.
My hair's terrible, that's why I'm wearing the beanie today.
Okay. Lastly, we're going to look at the community spotlight. This is we pick out winners every week of projects that we think are like the most special out of the community, and whether they be painting, storytelling, video content, whatever it is. Usually we pick out something that we think should be featured on the website and deserves a community button.
Brushstroke, don't tempt me.
This.
Do not tempt me. Because everything you paint, I want to paint. You swine.
Okay, so starting off, we have Brizzle Rub.
Brizzle Rob.
I kept looking at this and thinking Bizzle Rub. The British Provincial Force. And you can see why. Oh.
Yeah, I thought these looked fantastic because he's painted these up to using he painted them up to using a tournament or a big event that was doing at the Bristol Independent Gaming Show or something like that.
Yep.
And I just love these because it shows how you can do a lot of batch painting very easily and very cleanly, very neatly, and make it look amazing, and then add those extra details in, like sort of the trim around the top of the hats, the tricorn hats, and the facial details as well, just to make them all feel a little bit more like individuals at the same as well. And I think once you start to see them all ranked up, and then further down as well, them in battle too, I think it just suddenly pops, and you can see just how fantastic this force is. But there's a couple more pictures of some more of the individuals and all that kind of thing on his project blog and things. But yeah, I just thought this was fantastic. A really awesome look back, kind of like that black powder era.
Yep.
So,
That's such a cool looking little table as well, with all the
pumpkin patch.
yeah.
Like, not just the paint job on his work is spectacular. Like, that table actually looks really fun to play on.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things. Like, I think, especially for this period, if you're putting a lot of work into making these very flamboyant and over-the-top armies that have all this like regalia on them, if you've suddenly got a table that doesn't match that, I think you lose something. And so when you see something like this, it perfectly complements what you're trying to do. I think that's really cool. So.
Also, like, is this model sculpted after a character of some sort? Because like the official,
I don't know, because he kind of looks like he's from Spitting Image.
that
He does
face,
a little bit.
Yeah.
that face is pretty spectacular.
It is.
Even this one as well. Like, they're very detailed for what seems to be like quite a large army packed together.
I'm going to have a quick look in the project, see if it is based on anyone in particular.
Brushstroke, please don't.
Okay, so following on from there, we have Yogi Bear, and we saw this project
We see this
previously,
is well deserved.
but yeah, I think another special highlight for Yogi Bear and his Vampire Queen.
Yeah, I had to go back and because obviously I kind of missed this one last week, but when it showed up in what we were doing for Community Spotlight, I had to go back and give a golden button to Yogi for this really awesome work.
Ben's gone.
Ben's not gone, he's just like
He's
on
lying.
hiatus, that's all. 2-minute hiatus.
And now, and yes, I just think.
Don't worry. Well, I'm perfectly used to this now. I'm so used to it now that I think whenever Ben comes over, the next time he visits,
You're expecting him to speak like this.
whenever he talks without lag, I'm like, slow down, Ben. You're talking too fast. But yeah,
Right, I should be back
as
now.
Ben had said, if you didn't hear it like the rest of us, it's pretty well deserving of a community button this week.
It was especially the red here that I thought worked really nicely, and also the diorama piece at the back, doing it all in that kind of like moonlit, like slightly off blue. I thought it was fantastic. So
yeah. And then lastly we have Boudreaux. I hopefully pronouncing that right. I only assume it's like a French accent. The Fighting Third for Black Powder, and
which I had to consistently stop writing the Fighting Turd as I was writing it out, but I managed to trade myself. But yes, some more fantastic figures for some Black Powder games as well. So there was 2 projects here that were very much back in that kind of era of history, so it was really cool. And I think we talked about this a little bit back in last week's show when we looked at the forum topics. But just those nice rich greens, the blues, the reds, everything pops again, and that little bit of added detail to the faces as well. And then having it so that miniatures are not necessarily just singularly based, but across with 2 of them per base, I think certainly adds a little bit more to that kind of idea of a team as well, which I think was really cool.
Yep.
And it kind of means that every single one of them's a little tiny mini vignette, which I thought was really awesome. So
yeah, they all have very different poses here. I'm especially a big fan of denim jeans, as per usual. Okay, awesome work. I think lastly we're going to leave this on John to get some inspiration here from Brushstroke, because I saw this earlier and I forgot to link it in. We'll definitely have a look at this because my God, John. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I think John's going to go and dunk his head in the toilet for 20 minutes. I think
That's still that Black Templar though. Still that Black Templar. Oh my God. But that is superb.
that is fantastic.
The mixture of the weathering, the beautiful paint job, and the bit of snow sticking to the lower parts of the armor too is really excellent.
Oh,
so. Fantastic
Damn it,
work
Brushstroke.
there by Brushstroke. Let me just link that in as well, and you guys can like check it out for yourself and give some nominations. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you very much,
Nice.
John. Thank you very much, Splitter, for making our job easier.
For arriving late, but it's okay.
We hope to see you again next week. Keep tuned this week. I can't really remember what goes out this week, but we'll have the Weekender as per usual going out this weekend.
And I will be streaming on Friday, hopefully.
There are more unboxings. There's a Let's Play on Friday, hopefully. And also, no idea what's happening the Weekender. So there you go.
Awesome.
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah. Well, Warren's going to insult more people, so who knows. What are you going to be streaming, John?
I will either be painting the mouse that I talked about 2 weeks ago, or if Warren has his way, I'll still be building tanks for this project. Maybe I can have a break and paint a big tank.
When are we going to see the U-boat?
Whenever everything else is done. It's one I genuinely, guys, I really want to do, so I'm going to be forwarding that ideas of that to Warren in the near future.
Cool.
Did you get one of those Overwatch miniatures I sent, John?
Yes, I got Torbjorn.
Have you got a pipe, Ben?
You should paint
Oh, no,
it. No,
it's
it's just my glasses.
Is he said that?
It's just like had a pipe. Oh, you been working on that horse? I got sent you there, John.
You should give Torbjorn a go, dude. That'd be pretty awesome.
I might give Torbjorn a go. It just depends which colour I want to paint him in, though.
You gotta look through all the skins and see which one works.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, that's all from us. If anyone from America wants to send me that wee book on Kickstarter, feel free to send it.
And I have to say, because someone was messaging me yesterday, they were like, "Oh, I'm going to be making it to the Hobby Hangout this week," and I'm like, "Hi, Lena," because she's been complaining about not having enough time.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Cool.
I'm done.
Hi everyone. Bye everyone.
Bye,
I hope you
everyone.
had a great hobby hangout. We'll see you next week. Bye. Bye Ben.